Hello, Pepsi here, and today I'm going to show you how to save your aliases, custom commands, into a save file in Smod. So enjoy! This is the example that we'll be working on. Player unlocks an AGV and saves the game. If player dies, game will load latest save from this map. However, by default player does not have an AGV on this level, and the game will lock suit powers even after player unlocked them. So let's fix that. Let's start off with creating a command that will be executed on every map load and binding it to a default value. In this case, I'm creating a command that will activate an AGV at every map load and setting it default as an active. So every time I'm going to load a map, player loads a map, an AGV will be active. This alias will toggle between already existing states of your custom command. Now let's take a look at the MapAdd side of things. We'll need 4 objects. Point server command for executing our alias, logicouter responsible for triggering alias call on map load, mathcounter and logiccase responsible for storing and binding our alias to a correct state. First, I'm gonna create mathcounter. This is the object that will store our alias value between saves. Firstly, let's set target name of the mathcounter, as we will need to refer to it later. Then we set start value to 1, as we want the NAGV to be disabled by default unless the player activates trigger. Min and max key values are not needed in this example, however they prevent mathcounter from exceeding beyond defined values. Lastly, we set out value. It will send current mathcounter value to a logic case, which we will create now. For a logic case, first we assign a target name. Then create cases. Those will be numbers associated with alias state, in this case 2, on and off. Lastly, we create on-case triggers. They will fire depending on what number has been passed the logic case from mathcounter. Create as much as you need, max 16 per logic case. You can, however, use more than one logic case. Each on-case activates point server command action and binds initially created alias with corresponding state. Let's jump back to mathcounter and target logic case we've just created, typing its name in out value field. Then we select input of logic case in value, leave one space empty as we want to send current value, and set the delay to 0. Now it's time for logicouter. Logicouter is a special object that triggers every time a set global state is true. To make it work on every game load, we set its global state to isPC, which in case of Smod is always true. For purposes of this tutorial, we will need 2 onload game triggers. They trigger when the game state is loaded from save file. First, onload game trigger will fire mathcounter get value input, which will result in retrieving last value stored in mathcounter and setting correct alias functionality. Second, onload game trigger will fire set alias via point server command, thus executing now proper alias. It's worth noting that in this case mathcounter needs to have onGetValue output defined, and it needs to be set the same as outValue. Last element that we need to configure is MapAdd event that will change mathcounter value when needed. In my case, I'm extending already existing trigger with extra event that targets mathcounter with set value action and sets the value corresponding to active NAGV. Let's test it now. As before, I'm gonna obtain NAGV, save the game and kill the player character. After that, game will automatically load latest save, and if everything is set up correctly, I should see NAGV HUD after reloading the save.
Up, up. No, not up there. No. quite fragile. Oh, fie. Her out of there.
Yeah, longer if we're lucky.
Barney, you're not an animal person.
As you can see, the hat is visible. This means our code works. I highly suggest checking the Valve developer community for more information on the objects mentioned in this tutorial, as well as Smod wiki. Besides that, this tutorial video will have its dedicated thread on BSnoosh forums linked in the description, so you can go there, ask questions there. There will be also a copy-pastable versions of stuff I've mentioned before. So I hope this is gonna help somebody, not only me. See you next time.